Alright, in this video we're going to go over installing Vertica. First of all, we're going to create a VM. We're going to install CentOS 7. We're going to configure the operating system for Vertica. We're going to install Vertica, create a database, and then at the end we're going to load the VMart example database. Okay, to get started we'll need VirtualBox. If you don't already have it, go ahead and download that. And we'll also need a CentOS 7 minimal ISO, and you can get the image from centos.org. Okay, so here we are in VirtualBox. We're going to create a new virtual machine. Give it a name Vertica 01. Type Linux, Red Hat, 64-bit. We'll need 2 gigabytes of memory. Let's go ahead and create a hard disk. And in the video I chose 8 gigabytes. You'll need probably 16. At the very least up it to something like 12. Let's go ahead and configure the network. Set the first adapter to bridged. Second adapter, we'll want a host-only adapter. Go ahead and disable audio because this is a minimal install. Alright, let's load the ISO. Let's go to your downloads. Choose the ISO. And then you just want to make sure that the optical is ahead of the hard drive. Let's go ahead and start. Okay, go ahead and open the VM. Hit enter to install CentOS 7. This takes a minute or so, so I'm just going to fast forward the video. Okay, here we are. I'm going to have to change the resolution, which will make it harder to see, but I'll explain what I'm doing. So select English. We're going to change the date and time to UTC. You can do whatever you want in all the production environments I've worked in. They've all been in UTC, so I like to keep things uniform. We're going to configure partitioning. Click on I will configure partitioning and done. And then select standard partition. Create a new partition. We're going to create swap, and we need 2 gigabytes of swap. 2048, add mount point. Okay, and then we're going to add the drive, add mount point. We need to change the file system to etc4. Go ahead and click done. Accept changes. Now let's enable the network interfaces. Go to general, automatically connect to this network when it is available, save. That was the bridged adapter. This is the host only. We also want to enable this automatically connect, and then we're going to go to IPv4 settings, click on manual. We're going to create a static IP 192.168.56.11, network mask 24, gateway 255.255.255.0. DNS will point to the host 192.168.56.1. Click on routes. Use this connection only for resources on its network. Save. Hostname, we'll do Vertica 01. Apply. Go ahead and click on done, and then begin installation. Go ahead and create a root password. You will not need to create a new user. A default user called dbadmin will be created at the installation time. Okay, when that's done installing, go ahead and reboot. So in this slide I'm going to talk about the packages we'll need. On the left we have some extras that I like to have, and on the right under required packages, these are the packages that are needed for the installation of Vertica to be successful. So in order to do this on CentOS, you do yum install -y and then the package name. For development tools, if you want to do that, that is optional. You'll need to do yum group install. Once we have all the packages we need, we'll also need to configure some of the OS settings. What we're going to do is we're going to set the I/O scheduler, disable the firewall, adjust disk read ahead, enable transparent huge pages because this is CentOS 7, configure time zone settings, set swappiness to 0, and then disable SE Linux. Okay, here we are in the VM, and the first thing that we're going to do, we're going to log in, and then I'm going to install the Open SSH server. This will allow me to connect to this virtual machine from my terminal. So we first want to make sure we can connect to the internet, and now we want to make sure that we can connect to our host. Okay, good. So now I'm going to clear, and then yum install -y open SSH server. Okay, now that that's done, We can SSH from our terminal, SSH root at 192.168.56.11. So yes, enter the password. And now what we're going to do is we're going to install the packages. I've already done Open SSH Server. Then we're going to configure the settings, set the IO scheduler, disable the firewall, adjust disk read ahead, enable transparent huge pages, set the time zone, set swappiness, and disable SC Linux. Go ahead and copy that in. It's going to take a minute, so we'll just fast forward the video and reboot. All right, now we're going to install the RPM package. You'll need to go to my.vertica.com/download/vertica/community edition. Download the RPM. If you don't already have an account, you'll need to create one. Then we'll need to SCP the RPM to our VM and then install it using the RPM command. All right, so go to your downloads, SCP the RPM to your VM in the root directory. Okay, now let's SSH onto the VM. And run the RPM command, -UVH, capital UVH. Take a minute to install, so I'll just fast forward. And done. Okay, now we're going to run the Install Vertica command. That's in opt vertica sbin install vertica. The options we're going to use are hosts. You'll need a comma-separated list of hosts. Because this is a single node cluster, we're just going to put the IP address of our VM. I'm going to disable the DBA user password just because this is a test VM. Accept EULA end user license agreement. You can do that later. I just find it's easier to do in the command line. You're going to specify the license, in this case Community Edition. If you have purchased a license from Vertica, you will need to put the license path. And then finally we're going to specify the RPM. Okay, there's the command. Let's go ahead and run it. Successful. So now Vertica is running. We're going to go ahead and create a database, su-db admin. And we're going to use a program called Admin Tools that was part of the Vertica installation. Okay, go to Configuration menu, create database. We'll give it the name of vmart. Click OK. I'm going to put an empty password. Yes, that's fine. Click OK. Select the defaults. Okay, okay, and it's creating the database. And create database was successful. Just to verify, we're going to go to main menu, view cluster state, and everything's good. All right, and this last part's totally optional. If you already have data that you want to load, just go ahead and load that. If not, Vertica does include a sample database called vmart, and we're going to go over installing that now. Okay, so cd into opt vertica examples vmart schema. In there you'll see these files. Go ahead and run vmart gen to just accept the defaults. That creates a date range between 2003 to 2008, I think. If you want a more current date range, go ahead and look at the README file. It shows you how to build your own gen time. This is where the development tools I was talking about earlier came in. If you haven't installed that, you can go ahead and install that now. You will need that to run the g++ command. So now that you've created the vmart gen time, go ahead and run it with the start and end year. I'm going to do 2013 to 2018. I'm going to pipe that into time2.txt, just so we don't ruin the first time text file in case we screw that up. So we're going to need to chmod 755 time2. We're going to back up the time text file and then switch time2 to time.txt. Okay, so now that we have our new time.txt file, let's go ahead and run vmart gen --years 2013 through 2018. If you haven't created a new text file, you can just omit the years option. Okay, so that's been created. You can see we've got these new table files. So let's go ahead and generate the schema. To do that, we'll do vSQL-F vmart define schema. And we'll talk about the vSQL command in another video. For now, let's just go ahead and create that. So now we've got the schemas, vSQL-F load vmart load data.sql. That's going to load the data from those table files into those new tables. This takes a minute, so we'll go ahead and fast forward. All right, now that that's done, let's go ahead and vSQL -u dbadmin for the user -d vmart -h. We'll just do localhost. All right, so let's take a look at those new tables that we created. Select table schema, table name from tables. Because we use schemas and tables, not database and tables like, say, MySQL. So let's do select count star from online sales dot online page dimension just to make sure the data's there. And there it is. And we're done. To exit, do \Q. And that's it for installing Vertica. We'll see you in the next video.